Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab.
Great to be diving into this.
Today, we're embarking on a vocabulary building journey, a deep dive into 50 essential words you might well encounter on the GRE.
Yeah, these are words that pop up quite a bit, not just on tests, but in, more complex articles and discussions too.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding that kind of English better, and also, expressing yourself more effectively.
We'll look at the meanings, sure, but also how they work in context.
Right. We'll explore what each word really means, see it in action with some examples, and try to connect it to real-life situations.
The goal is to make these words stick, right? Not just for a test, but for your wider communication toolbox.
Precisely. We want them to become a lasting part of how you understand and use English. So let's jump in. The first word we're tackling is abase.
Abase. Okay, so this basically means to degrade or humble someone. You're lowering their rank, their esteem. It's often deliberate.
Deliberate. That's interesting. It's not just accidental criticism then.
Generally not. It implies an intention to diminish someone's dignity. Think about power dynamics in a workplace or even socially.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The example we have is the manager's public criticism of the intern in front of the team abased her, which really undermined her confidence. Ouch, you can really picture that.
Yeah, that public element is often key. It's more than just feedback, it's a public lowering.
Right.
Or imagine, say, a senior colleague dismissing a junior's idea in a meeting, maybe with a sarcastic comment. That could definitely abase them.
Yeah, make them feel small, reluctant to speak up next time.
Exactly. It raises that whole issue of giving feedback constructively versus just, tearing someone down.
So the key takeaway for abase is that intentional diminishing of dignity. Got it. All right, next up, abate.
Abate. This one means to reduce an intensity or amount. Think of something gradually lessening, tapering off.
Okay, like not stopping suddenly.
Right. More of a decrease over time.
The example sentence is, after the storm, the heavy rainfall abated, finally allowing residents to begin the cleanup. We've all felt that relief when bad weather finally eases up.
Definitely. Or think about tension in a debate. It might abate as people find common ground.
Oh, good.
Or a teacher might, lower their voice, abate the volume to calm a noisy class.
So a gradual lessening.
Got it.
Okay, number 3 is abdicate.
Abdicate. This is about formally giving up power or responsibility. Think kings, queens, maybe high-level executives.
A formal stepping down.
Yes, usually voluntary and official. It's a conscious relinquishing of a major role.
The example. The king abdicated his throne so his daughter could take the lead of the kingdom. That's a big historical moment type of word.
It often is. But you see modern examples too, like Pope Benedict XVI abdicating.
Right, I remember that. That was quite unusual.
It was. Or a CEO might abdicate under pressure or for personal reasons. It's that formal handover.
So formal, voluntary relinquishing of power. Okay, next, aberrant.
Aberrant. This describes something abnormal or deviant, something that departs from the expected standard or norm.
So unusual behavior or results.
Pretty much. It makes you think about what normal even is in a given context.
The example is, her aberrant behavior at the formal event, like laughing loudly during a serious speech, really surprised the other guests.
You can picture the awkwardness.
Totally. Or in science, an aberrant result, one that's way off from others, might make researchers question things. Is it an error or something genuinely unexpected?
An outlier.
Could be. So aberrant flags something as unusual, deviating from the norm.
Okay. Next on the list is abeyance.
Abeyance. This means a temporary suspension or inactivity. Something's put on hold, but the idea is it'll likely resume later.
Like pressing pause.
Exactly, not stop. It's temporary.
The sentence here is, the construction project was held in abeyance until the city approved the revised budget. Happens all the time with projects, right? Funding issues, approvals.
It does. Or a court case might be put in abeyance waiting for more evidence.
Or a company might put expansion plans in abeyance during an economic downturn. Wait and see.
So the key is that temporary pause, the expectation of restarting. Makes sense. Next word, abhor.
Abhor. Now this is a strong one. It means to detest, to regard with disgust and loathing, much stronger than just dislike.
Really intense feeling then.
Oh yeah, serious revulsion.
The example. She abhorred any form of animal cruelty and actively supported local animal shelters. That's a common sentiment, that strong feeling against cruelty.
Absolutely. Or people might abhor dishonesty in politics, for instance.
Right.
A voter might abhor a politician ignoring scientific warnings about, say, climate change. It's that deep moral objection sometimes.
Okay, so abhor is for that really strong feeling of disgust or hatred. Moving on to abjure.
Abjure. This means to formally renounce something, often publicly or even under oath. It's a solemn rejection.
Formal rejection, like denying something you once believed.
Yes, or renouncing an allegiance or a claim. It's quite definitive.
The example: he abjured his allegiance to the extremist group after witnessing their violent actions. A very formal, serious act of disavowal.
Exactly. You might see political defectors abjure their former ideologies. Or on a more personal level, someone might abjure unhealthy habits as part of a commitment to change. It's that formal act of giving something up.
Okay, formal and often public rejection. Got it. Next, abrasive.
Abrasive. This has two main senses. It can mean literally rough, like sandpaper.
Right, for scrubbing or smoothing.
Yes. But it also describes a personality or manner that's harsh, irritating, or annoying. Rubs you the wrong way, basically.
Okay. The example for personality is: his abrasive tone during the team meeting created tension and made colleagues reluctant to contribute. We've probably all met someone like that.
Unfortunately, yes. Someone who constantly interrupts or is just, harsh in their comments. It damages teamwork.
Definitely. So it could be physical roughness or that kind of grating personality. Okay. Number 9 is abreast.
Abreast. Literally, it means side by side, but it's most often used in the phrase keep abreast of or stay abreast of.
Meaning keep up to date.
Exactly. Staying informed about the latest news, developments, or trends in a particular area.
The sentence is: she made sure to keep abreast of the newest scientific discoveries by reading relevant journals regularly. Crucial in fast-moving fields.
Absolutely essential. Tech, medicine, finance. You have to stay abreast of changes to stay relevant. A software developer needs to stay abreast of new programming languages, for instance.
So abreast of is the key phrase there, staying current. Okay, our 10th word is abridge.
Abridge. This means to shorten something, usually a written work like a book or article, while keeping the main points.
Condensing it, basically.
Right, making it shorter but retaining the essence.
The example: the editor decided to abridge the lengthy 800-page novel to make it more accessible to high school students. Like those shorter versions of classics you sometimes see.
Precisely. Abridged textbooks, abridged versions of War and Peace, perhaps. It's about making dense material more manageable without losing the core story or argument.
Okay, shortening while preserving the main idea. Got it. Let's keep going. Next is abscission.
Abscission. This sounds a bit technical, and it often is. It means the act of cutting off or a sudden termination. In biology, it specifically refers to the natural separation of leaves, flowers, or fruit from a plant.
Like leaves falling in autumn.
Exactly. That's leaf abscission. But it can be used more broadly for any abrupt cutting off or ending.
The example sentence mentions the leaf shedding. How about a non-biological example?
Well, you could talk about the abscission of a project, a company suddenly terminating it due to budget cuts, perhaps.
Right.
It implies a clean, decisive cut.
So a cutting off either naturally like leaves or sudden termination.
Okay.
Next, abscond.
Abscond. This means to leave secretly and suddenly, especially to avoid capture or duty. There's usually a sense of wrongdoing involved.
Like running away with something.
Yeah.
We're trying to escape.
Yes. Often implies theft or escaping justice.
The example is: the thief absconded with the priceless jewelry during the night. Classic getaway scenario.
Right. Or you might hear about a defendant absconding before their trial. On a lighter, maybe slightly misused note, a teenager might abscond from a boring family event, though that lacks the usual criminal implication.
So the key is departing secretly and suddenly, often to escape consequences.
Got it.
Number 13.
Abstain. Abstain. This means to refrain from doing something, typically something enjoyable but potentially harmful, or to decline to vote.
So holding back, choosing not to participate.
Exactly. Often it's a conscious choice based on principles, health, or neutrality.
The example: he decided to abstain from the vote because of a potential conflict of interest. That happens in meetings, boards.
Very common. Or people might abstain from certain foods or drinks for religious or health reasons, like abstaining from meat during Lent. It's about voluntary restraint.
Voluntary restraint, often for ethical or specific reasons. Okay, next is abyss.
Abyss. This refers to a very deep, vast space or chasm. It can be literal, like an ocean trench, or figurative.
Figurative, like an emotional void.
Precisely. You can talk about the abyss of grief or the abyss of despair. It conveys profound depth, often something seemingly bottomless or infinite.
The example is literal. Staring into the abyss of the Grand Canyon filled her with awe. Captures that immense depth.
It does. But think also of literature, characters facing an existential abyss. It's a powerful word for deep, often daunting space or feeling.
Deep, vast, potentially overwhelming. Okay, accede.
Accede. This means to agree to a demand, request, or treaty, or to assume an office or position.
So it's about agreement or taking power.
Yes, often in a formal context, giving consent or stepping into a role.
The example. The committee finally acceded to the proposal after weeks of debate. So they agreed, gave in perhaps.
Could be. Or think of a vice president acceding to the presidency after the president resigns. It's assuming that position. Companies might accede to client demands to keep them happy.
Formal agreement or assumption of power. Got it. Next, accretion.
Accretion. This refers to growth or increase by the gradual accumulation of additional layers or matter.
Like things slowly building up.
Exactly. Slow, steady addition.
Example. The accretion of sediment over centuries formed the new landmass. See that with river deltas.
Right. Or think about how coral reefs grow through the accretion of coral skeletons. Even wealth accumulation through compound interest could be seen as a form of accretion.
Gradual buildup, adding layers. Okay, acerbic.
Acerbic. This describes a taste that is sour or sharp, but more often it refers to a style of speaking or writing that is sharp, critical, and maybe even bitter.
So like sharp criticism.
Yes, biting, maybe witty, but in a harsh way.
The example. The critics' acerbic review of the film highlighted every flaw. Some critics are known for that style.
They are. An acerbic comment in an argument can really sting.
Yeah.
It's sharper and more bitter than just being critical.
Sour, sharp, biting tone.
Okay.
Related perhaps. Acidulous.
Acidulous. Yes, related, but milder than acerbic. It means slightly sour in taste or manner. Sharp, but perhaps more subtly critical or caustic.
So less intense than acerbic.
Generally, yes. Still sharp, but maybe not as harsh or bitter.
The example. Her acidulous comments about his performance were brief but pointed.
A little dig, maybe.
Could be. Or a dish with a slightly tangy, acidulous flavor. A teacher might make an acidulous remark that's critical but not overly harsh. It's a finer shade of sharpness.
Slightly sour, subtly sharp, or critical. Okay. Next is acme.
Acme. This means the highest point of achievement or development, the peak, the pinnacle.
The very top.
Yes, the culmination of success in a particular field.
Example. Winning the Nobel Prize was considered the acme of her long scientific career, the ultimate achievement.
Right. Or an Olympic gold medal could be the acme for an athlete. For a company, reaching the highest market share might be its acme. It signifies the peak point.
The highest point, the pinnacle. Good one. Number 20, activism. Activism. This refers to the policy or action of using vigorous campaigning to bring about political or social change.
So taking action for a cause. Protests, campaigns.
Exactly. It's about actively working towards a goal, often challenging the status quo.
The example. Environmental activism has raised global awareness about climate change. We see a lot of that.
We do. Think of figures like Greta Thunberg and her climate strikes, or local groups organizing rallies for better public transport. It's about passion translated into action.
Vigorous action for social or political change.
Okay.
Next, acumen.
Acumen. This is about having keen insight, shrewdness, and the ability to make good judgments, especially in a particular domain.
So like being sharp and insightful.
Yes. Quick and accurate perception or judgment. Business acumen, political acumen.
The example. His business acumen allowed him to build a small startup into a global brand. That kind of sharp business sense.
Yeah. Right. Or a financial advisor with the acumen to predict market trends accurately. Even a student who quickly grasps and solves complex problems shows academic acumen. It's about sharpness in a specific area.
Keen insight and good judgment. Makes sense. Adhere.
Adhere. This means to stick fast to something, either physically like glue or figuratively like sticking to a plan, principle, or belief.
Sticking to something literally or figuratively.
Correct.
Example. It's crucial for researchers to adhere strictly to the established protocols, following the rules closely.
Yes, or a chef adhering to a specific recipe. Figuratively, someone might adhere to strong ethical principles throughout their life. It implies commitment and sticking with it.
Sticking fast, physically or to principal's plans?
Yeah.
Okay, admonish.
Admonish. This means to warn or reprimand someone gently but firmly. It's like a mild scolding or cautionary advice.
Softer than criticizing harshly.
Generally, yes. It often implies the correction is meant constructively.
Example, the teacher admonished the student for being late, but did so privately. A gentle correction.
Right. A parent might admonish a child for misbehaving. A manager might admonish an employee about missing deadlines, usually as a warning or advice rather than severe punishment.
Mild, firm warning or reprimand. Got it. Next is adulterate.
Adulterate. This means to make something poorer in quality by adding another substance, typically an inferior one, to corrupt or contaminate.
Like watering something down or adding fillers.
Exactly. Debasing the quality.
The example. The company was fined for trying to adulterate its premium fruit juice with cheaper additives. That definitely sounds illegal.
It often is, especially with food or medicine. Think of adulterated olive oil mixed with cheaper oils. Figuratively, you could say a speech was adulterated by irrelevant points that weakened the main message.
Making something impure by adding inferior stuff.
Okay.
Adumbrate.
Adumbrate. This is a slightly less common word. It means to outline sketchily or partially disclose, to foreshadow vaguely, or sometimes to overshadow or obscure.
So giving a rough sketch or hinting at something.
Yes, often implying incompleteness or vagueness.
Example. In the first lecture, the professor only had time to adumbrate the main topics of the course syllabus. Just a brief overview.
Right. Or a movie trailer might adumbrate the plot without giving too much away. A manager might adumbrate the project goals initially with more details to follow. It suggests a preliminary or vague outline.
Rough outline, foreshadowing, or obscuring. Interesting. Next, adverse.
Adverse. This means preventing success or development, harmful or unfavorable.
So, negative or opposing.
Yes. Conditions or effects that work against something.
Example, adverse weather conditions forced the cancellation of the outdoor concert. Bad weather is a classic adverse condition.
Definitely. Or you talk about the adverse effects of a medication, the negative side effects. Adverse market conditions can hurt businesses. It's about things being unfavorable or harmful.
Harmful, unfavorable, opposing. Got it. Advocate.
Advocate. This can be a verb or a noun. As a verb, it means to publicly recommend or support a particular cause or policy. As a noun, it's a person who does that.
So speaking up for something or being a supporter.
Exactly. Championing a cause or idea.
Example. She has always been a strong advocate for equal pay in the workplace. Both supporting the idea and being a supporter.
Right. Lawyers advocate for their clients. Activists like Malala Yousafzai advocate for girls' education. It involves active support and speaking out.
Supporting or speaking in favor of. Also, the supporter themselves.
Okay.
Airy.
Airy, also spelled A-E-R-I-E sometimes. It refers to a large nest of a bird of prey, like an eagle or hawk, typically built high up on a cliff or mountain.
A high-up nest for a big bird.
Yes, and by extension, it can refer to any dwelling or fortress perched high up.
Example. From their eyrie on the cliff face, the eagles surveyed the valley below. Evokes that high, commanding view.
It does. Think of medieval castles built on hilltops, sort of like human eyries, or maybe a very expensive penthouse apartment with panoramic views could be metaphorically called an eyrie. It suggests height and isolation.
High nest or dwelling.
Yeah.
Got it. Aesthetic.
Aesthetic. This relates to beauty and the appreciation of beauty concerning art or good taste. It can also refer to a set of principles guiding the work of a particular artist or artistic movement.
So about beauty, art, and taste.
Yes. What looks good, what feels harmonious or visually appealing.
Example. The minimalist aesthetic of the furniture appealed to her sense of order. A specific style or sense of beauty.
Right. You talk about the aesthetic principles of Japanese gardens, focusing on harmony and nature. Or a fashion brand might have a specific aesthetic, like vintage or futuristic. It's about the underlying sense of beauty or style.
Relating to beauty and taste. Okay. 30 down. Next, affable.
Affable. This means friendly, good-natured, and easy to talk to. Approachable and warm.
Just basically. Nice and easy to get along with.
Pretty much. Someone who puts you at ease.
Example. His affable demeanor made him a popular figure in the community. People like being around him.
Exactly. An affable teacher can make students feel more comfortable asking questions. An affable salesperson might seem more trustworthy. It's about being pleasant and approachable.
Friendly and easy to talk to. Good quality. Affectation.
Affectation. This refers to behavior, speech, or writing that is artificial and designed to impress. It's pretense, putting on airs.
So acting fake to seem cool or sophisticated.
Kind of, yeah. It's behavior that's not natural or genuine for the person.
Example, he spoke with an affected British accent even though he'd never lived outside Ohio. That sounds like affectation.
Classic example. Or using overly formal language at a casual networking event to seem more intelligent. Think of Gatsby in the novel. His elaborate parties and displays of wealth could be seen as affectations to create a certain image.
Fake behavior intended to impress. Okay, aggrandize.
Aggrandize. This means to increase the power, status, or wealth of someone or something. It can also mean to exaggerate one's own importance or the importance of something.
Making something seem bigger or better than it is, or actually increasing power.
It can be both. Often, the second meaning exaggeration is implied, especially self-aggrandizement.
Example, he tended to aggrandize his role in the project's success during presentations, making himself look more important.
Right. Politicians might aggrandize their accomplishments. Companies might aggrandize the benefits of their products in advertising. It often carries that sense of puffing things up.
Increasing or exaggerating importance, power, or wealth. Got it.
Aggregate.
Aggregate. As a verb, it means to gather separate things into a whole or mass. As a noun or adjective, it refers to that whole amount formed by combining parts.
So bringing things together, or the total amount.
Exactly. Collection or sum total.
Example, the company will aggregate data from various sources to create a comprehensive market report, combining information.
Yes. In economics, you talk about aggregate demand, or the total demand for goods and services in an economy. In sports, a team's aggregate score over 2 matches determines the winner. It emphasizes the whole formed from parts.
Gather together, the whole sum.
Yeah.
Okay, alacrity.
Alacrity. This means brisk and cheerful readiness, eager willingness, and speed.
So doing something quickly and enthusiastically. Yes. With cheerful promptness.
Example, she accepted the job offer with alacrity, excited about the new opportunity. No hesitation, just eager acceptance.
Right. A student applying for a scholarship with alacrity, getting the forms in quickly and eagerly. Employees who respond to requests with alacrity are usually highly valued. It's about that positive, speedy willingness.
Cheerful speed and willingness. Nice word. Albeit.
Albeit, this is a conjunction meaning although or even though. It's a concise way to introduce a concession or contrast.
Just a shorter way to say although.
Pretty much, often used to qualify a statement.
Example, he finally finished the report, albeit with several minor errors. So he finished, but there was a downside.
Correct. They completed the difficult hike, albeit utterly exhausted. The movie was entertaining, albeit rather predictable. It acknowledges a contrasting point concisely.
Although introduces a concession. Okay. Alienate.
Alienate. This means to cause someone to feel isolated, estranged, or hostile. To make someone unfriendly or indifferent who was previously friendly or engaged.
Pushing someone away emotionally.
Yes, creating distance or hostility.
Example, his constant complaining began to alienate even his closest friends, driving people away.
Right. A politician's controversial stance might alienate moderate voters. Harsh criticism can alienate family members. It's about creating that emotional or social gap.
Causing unfriendliness or isolation.
Got it.
Alleviate.
Alleviate. This means to make suffering, deficiency, or a problem less severe. To lessen or make something easier to endure.
Like easing pain or difficulty.
Exactly. Reducing the severity of something negative.
Example, the medication helped to alleviate her chronic back pain, making the pain less intense.
Yes. Charities work to alleviate poverty. International aid aims to alleviate suffering after a disaster. Even a kind word can alleviate someone's stress. It's about lessening hardship.
Lessening pain, suffering, or problems. Okay.
Aloof.
Aloof. This describes someone who is distant, remote, or reserved, seemingly indifferent or uninvolved.
Like keeping to oneself, maybe seeming unfriendly. Can seem that way, yes. It suggests emotional distance or detachment, not necessarily hostility, but certainly not warm or engaging.
Example, he remained aloof at the party, standing alone in a corner. Not mixing, staying apart.
Right. A colleague who is polite but always aloof, never joining in casual conversation. Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice is famously aloof initially. It suggests a deliberate distance.
Distant, reserved, uninvolved. Okay. Amalgamate.
Amalgamate. This means to combine or unite to form one organization or structure, to blend or merge things together.
Merging things into one.
Yes, often used for companies or organizations combining forces,
Yep.
but it can mean blending any elements.
Example, the two small companies decided to amalgamate to better compete in the market. a business merger.
Classic use. But chefs also amalgamate ingredients when they blend spices or sauces thoroughly. It implies a thorough mixing or joining together.
Blend, merge, or unite. Got it. 40 down, 10 to go. Next, ambiguous.
Ambiguous. This means unclear or inexact because a choice between alternatives has not been made, open to more than one interpretation.
Not clear. Could mean different things.
Exactly. Vague, uncertain, potentially confusing because it's not specific.
Example, the politician's statement on the issue was deliberately ambiguous, leaving room for interpretation.
Happens all the time. Or ambiguous instructions for an exam can cause problems for students. Ambiguous wording in a contract can lead to disputes. It lacks clarity.
Unclear, open to multiple interpretations.
Okay.
Ambivalent.
Ambivalent. This describes having mixed feelings or contradictory ideas about something or someone, being uncertain because you feel pulled in two different directions.
So feeling two ways about something at once.
Yes, conflicting emotions or desires. Torn.
Example. She felt ambivalent about moving abroad, excited for the adventure, but sad to leave her family, pulling in both directions.
Right. A job seeker might feel ambivalent about an offer great pay but terrible hours. You want both things, or you see both the pros and cons strongly. It's that internal conflict.
Having conflicting feelings? Uncertain. Makes sense. Ameliorate.
Ameliorate. This means to make something bad or unsatisfactory better, to improve a situation.
Improving something negative. How's it different from alleviate?
Good question. They're similar. Alleviate often focuses on reducing suffering or difficulty, making it less severe. Ameliorate often focuses more broadly on improving a condition, making it better, not just less bad. But there's overlap.
Okay, focus on improvement.
Right. Urban planners might try to ameliorate traffic congestion through better road design. Therapy can help ameliorate symptoms of anxiety or depression. It's about making things better.
Improve, make better. Amortize.
Amortize. This is mainly a financial term. It means to gradually pay off a debt over a period of time through regular payments, or to gradually reduce the value of an asset over time.
Paying off a loan slowly, like a mortgage.
Exactly like a mortgage. Each payment covers some interest and some principal, gradually reducing the debt. Businesses also amortize the cost of large assets, like equipment, spreading the expense over its useful life in their accounting.
Gradually paying off debt or writing off asset cost. Financial term.
Yeah.
Got it. Anachronism.
Anachronism. This refers to something or someone that is not in its correct historical or chronological time, especially something belonging to an earlier time.
Something that's out of place in time.
Yes, like finding a smartphone in a movie set in the 1800s.
Right. That ruins the historical feel.
It does. That's an anachronism. Or a character in a historical novel using modern slang. It's something that doesn't fit the time period.
Something out of its proper time. Okay.
Analgesia.
Analgesia. This is a medical term for the inability to feel pain, or the relief of pain without loss of consciousness.
Pain relief.
Essentially, yes. The state of not feeling pain.
Example, the dentist administered local analgesia before drilling the tooth, numbing the area.
Right. Epidurals provide analgesia during childbirth. Over-the-counter painkillers provide mild analgesia. It's the medical term for blocking pain sensation.
Pain relief, inability to feel pain. Medical.
Okay.
Analogous. Analogous. This means comparable in certain respects, typically in a way that makes clearer the nature of the things compared. Similar or corresponding.
So, finding a similarity between different things to explain something.
Exactly, drawing a comparison or analogy.
Example, the workings of the human heart are often described as analogous to a pump.
Comparing it to something familiar.
Yes. A teacher might explain a complex scientific concept by making it analogous to a more common process. It's about highlighting a parallel structure or function to aid understanding.
Comparable, similar, used for comparisons. Got it. Anarchy.
Anarchy. This means a state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems. Absence of government and absolute freedom of the individual, often regarded as political chaos.
No government, no rules, chaos.
That's the common connotation, yes. Lack of order or control.
Example, the sudden collapse of the government led to a state of anarchy in the city. Breakdown of order. Right. Dystopian novels often depict worlds descended into anarchy. A classroom without a teacher might temporarily descend into anarchy. It implies disorder due to a lack of governing structure.
Absence of government, disorder, chaos. Okay. Annul.
Annul. This means to declare invalid, to make void or cancel legally.
Like canceling something officially.
Yes, making it legally non-existent.
Example, the court agreed to annul the marriage due to procedural irregularities, making the marriage legally void.
Right. A government might annul an old, outdated law. A contract might be annulled if certain conditions aren't met. It's a formal cancellation, declaring something null and void.
Declare invalid, cancel legally.
Okay.
Almost there. Anodyne.
Anodyne. As a noun, it's a pain-killing drug or medicine. As an adjective, it means not likely to provoke dissent or offense. Bland, inoffensive.
So pain relief again, or just bland.
It can be both. Literally, a pain reliever, similar to analgesia, but maybe less technical sounding. Figuratively, something soothing or blandly agreeable, unlikely to cause trouble.
Example, the doctor prescribed a mild anodyne for the headache. Pain relief.
Yes. But you could also say a politician gave an anodyne speech deliberately inoffensive, saying nothing controversial, maybe a bit boring. A kind, soothing remark could also be described as anodyne in a time of distress.
Pain-relieving medicine or soothing, blandly inoffensive. Okay. And last one, number 50, anoint.
Anoint. This means to rub or smear with oil, typically as part of a religious ceremony, often signifying consecration or divine selection.
Like with holy oil in a ceremony.
Exactly, making someone or something sacred.
Example, the priest prepared to anoint the new king during the coronation ceremony. A key part of making someone king.
Yes, a very old tradition in many cultures and religions. Figuratively, someone might be anointed as the chosen successor in a company, or a critic might anoint a young artist as the next big thing. It implies being chosen or designated, often with a sense of ceremony or importance.
Rub with oil ceremonially. Choose or designate as sacred or important. Got it. Wow, that's 50 words. We've covered quite a bit of ground there, from abase to anoint.
We have. Hopefully breaking them down like this helps make them a bit less intimidating and more memorable.
Definitely. You now have a stronger grasp, hopefully, of what these words mean and how they're used in different situations.
And remember, building vocabulary is an ongoing thing. It's not just about memorizing for a test.
Absolutely. Try to notice these words when you read. Maybe even try using them in your own speaking or writing. That's how they really stick.
Practice makes perfect, as they say, or at least makes it stick better.
For sure. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into these 50 essential words.
Hope you found it useful.
And for more vocabulary building resources, tips on learning English, and other deep dives, please do like this video, share with anyone else who might find it helpful, and subscribe to the Learn English Lab channel here on YouTube.
Thanks for joining us.